passenger seat. Oh shit. Jasper shot up in his seat and turned to me with a smirk. You missed all the excitement over the new girl, didn't you? New girl? I asked in a bored tone, and closed my eyes. People around here always went apeshit over fresh meat. I could care less. Jasper rolled his eyes at my obvious indifference. No way, man. You're going to get a kick out of this. New girl is Elisa's crazy cousin. She moved in with her a week ago. I frowned. I had a new neighbor and didn't even notice. No, I had a new crazy neighbor and I didn't even notice. Suddenly I was interested. It's not exactly comforting to be living in such close proximity to someone who's crazy. I waved my hand for him to continue and opened my eyes to look at him. Pleased by my reaction, Jasper settled back down and continued. Wednesday, Newton tried to work his charm on her in bio and she completely fucking freaked out. Had some kind of weird, random emotional breakdown. Or some shit. She started crying and shaking, then ran out of class. It was quite the event. Usually I'd figure Mike just finally got normal reaction from his usual ass grab technique, but when Crowley tried to help her up yesterday after she tripped, she did the same thing. He finished with a shrug. Just then, Brandon and her passenger exited her car and began walking towards the building. I couldn't see the passenger's face because it was hidden behind long brown hair peeking out from under her black hoodie. I assumed this was crazy cousin or new girl. She seemed to drag her feet lazily while she was walking towards the school. I was about to question Jasper further on new girl's obvious mental instability, but his attention was entirely fixated on Brandon's retreating rear. I sighed and got out of the car to make my way to class.
Bella's point of view. Alice just wouldn't shut up about this party tonight. We were in her rather ostentatious screaming yellow Porsche, waiting for the bell to ring to go to class. It's going to be so much fun, Bella. MTS parties are landmark events. You have to come, everybody's going to be there. She squealed at me. That was the exact reason I didn't want to go. The thought of being in a house filled to the brim with drunk guys made me shudder. Alice, I pleaded quietly, please don't make me go to this thing. I'm really uncomfortable about the whole idea. I didn't want to tell her the real reason why I didn't want to go. It would make her suspicious, and the rumors flying around school were already drawing her attention to my behavior. It was silent for a moment, and I thought for sure I had finally won this argument, but when I looked up at her, I knew I had lost. She was giving me the classic Alice bout. No one could deny that look even if they wanted to. And honestly, I wanted to show her that I could try to be normal for an hour or two, hoping maybe it would suppress her worries about me for a while. Ugh. Fine. I'll go in with you and chat with Rose for a few minutes, then I'm going back home, I said, annoyed. She squealed and started bouncing in her seat. You'll see, Bella, you'll have fun. I rolled my eyes and opened the car door just as the bell rang. I had a mantra I had to repeat to myself at times like this, walking across the quad and feeling the eyes of every soul on my head. Hood up, head down. I was feeling more tired by the second. The day hours always amplified my drowsiness. I heard snickers and whispers as I passed the groups of people. I didn't make out what they were saying because I was intently tuning them out and returning to the numb state I used to get through the school days. I had 3 episodes so far with guys touching me, and I assumed I was probably the laughingstock of the entire school by now. As if reading my mind, Alice leaned up into my ear. I promise I won't let anyone bother you, she whispered and patted my arm. But I didn't say anything back. I just continued walking with my head down, and my feet dragging against the wave of exhaustion that was rising in me. By the time lunch came, I realized I was being avoided like the plague by the entire student body. This fact made me so relieved, I almost smiled. Almost. It made everything so much easier, being avoided. They all still did the snicker/whisper thing, but that I could definitely handle. I never ate school food, so I produced my bag of gingerbread zombies and took my seat at the end of the table next to Alice, and across from Rosalie, Elisa's best friend and Emmett's girlfriend. Emmett and Rose were both seniors, but the two of them and Alice were nearly inseparable. I was told that the three of them were the most popular in school, and I could easily understand why. Rose, with her beauty, Alice, with her unbridled enthusiasm and friendliness, and of course, Emmett, the big quarterback, who everyone was dying to impress. Emmett and I haven't really talked much, mostly because he scares the hell out of me, but Rose and I are becoming something akin to friends. I said a quick hello and dug in my bag for my book I had just checked out from the library. I didn't have my old collection anymore, so I always had to settle. But even though the books were usually bad, they still kept my attention focused and away from the crowded room. They knew better than to attempt to include me in their conversation, which seemed to center around tonight's party, so I just munched on my cookies and started reading with my head down. This is what I did every day, try to be invisible. The sound of the bell brought my attention back to the cafeteria, so I quickly put my book away and headed for biology. I liked this class because I had the lab table all to myself and could sometimes even catch a few minutes of sleep. Mr. Banner never said anything, because he knew I already had this course in Phoenix. I kept my head down all the way to the classroom, walking slightly slower than usual. My exhaustion was quickly overwhelming me, making my eyelids droop, and my footsteps falter despite my efforts to stay coherent. The only thing keeping me awake at that moment was the freezing cold rain soaking through my hood and hair. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. I chided myself mentally, rubbing my eyes furiously with my fist in an attempt to delay the inevitable. Once I was in my seat in the warmth of the biology classroom, I knew I had to catch at least 10 or 20 minutes of rest. I knew I was pushing it when I stayed awake in English, but I had papers to turn in. It was better for me to sleep here. At school, where bells were constantly blaring at regularly timed intervals, I knew I could never get to sleep deep enough to dream. I crossed my arms on the lab table and laid my forehead down on them, listening to the footsteps around me as people made their way to their seats, and staring into the darkness created by the veil of my arms and hair. I slowly let my eyes flutter closed and welcomed the sweet release of unconsciousness.
Edward's point of view. Crazy new cousin girl was passed out at my lab table when I arrived to bio. So now I'm sitting here staring daggers at her soaked black hood in unmasked disdain. Must be nice, I thought bitterly as I started our lab assignment. I should wake her up like the prick I most definitely am. I should rip that hood right off her head and start shaking her. I should have told Mr. Banner I wasn't okay with it when he asked me, but I didn't. It almost felt like sacrilege to disturb something as peaceful and unattainable to me as sleep. So I swallowed my annoyance and did the fucking assignment, and hoped she enjoyed her A. Once I was done, I immediately regretted going so fast. I had absolutely nothing to keep my attention away from the fact I could barely keep my eyes open. I started doing what I always did in these situations, eyes drooping, head dropping, and then snapping back up. I did that 5 times, before I ran a hand over my face nice and hard and shot a look at the sleeping figure to my left. Fucking bitch. I could hear her breathing deeply in the silence of the classroom, and she was emitting the softest snoring sound. I was sure I was the only one that could hear it. It was quiet, deep, and repetitive, like a lullaby. And it was making me even more tired than I already was. There was still 30 minutes of class left. Shaking my head furiously, I decided I couldn't take any more